Okay, first let's just get into this. This is, oh my gosh.
Just rip off the Band-Aid. Give us the bad news.
So it's just like, it's cringy to read this article because I can't believe this happened. Schoolboys forced to apologize to female classmates on behalf of their gender.
Oh,
wow.
Boy.
My goodness. Okay. Some parents of male students at a school in Australia are seething after their sons were forced to stand up in assembly and apologize to their female classmates on behalf of their gender. Some parents, not all parents.
Other parents were like, oh, yeah, thanks. I also like to publicly shame my kid at home, too.
Right. For something they had nothing to do with.
Yeah, exactly.
The incident happened at Brower College, a senior school in Warrnambool, Victoria, on Wednesday. One parent, Danielle Shepherd, who has a 12-year-old son at the school, told 7 News her son was feeling confused after being told to apologize. He said that he was made to stand up and basically apologized. It wasn't explained properly to the male students what they were doing or why they were doing it. She said, the news came after James Merlino, acting premier and education minister in the state of Victoria, announced that lessons about consent would become mandatory in state schools in Victoria from next month, in an expansion of the Victorian government's Respectful Relationships program. The consent classes were announced amid a national conversation about the sexual harassment of girls, sparking in part by multiple allegations of assault and harassment on campus from students at Wesley College, a top private school in Melbourne. When the Respectful Relationships program began, it focused more generally on relationships, sexuality, and safety. The Victorian government has said teachers will be given extra resources and guidance to prepare them to teach lessons about consent from April. Brower College organized the assembly about respect for women and girls, but parents weren't told what form the discussion would take. The school's principal, Jane Boyle, told this network that while the assembly was well-intended, she recognized that the public apology was inappropriate. Well, you could have maybe not have had them do it beforehand, Jane Boyle. I mean, it seems like she recognized that it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
What? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and honestly, just listening to this story, I mean, on the one hand, I think that we should be teaching our young men how to be respectful of not only women, but just of everyone, you know, your elders, everyone in society. We should
not even men. Everyone should learn that.
Exactly. So that's the number one problem with this story, is that we have seen this constant thing in our culture. And, you know, this isn't even just here in America. Now we're seeing it in Australia too, where we're constantly demonizing our men. And we've created this society now of, one, very effeminate men. We don't have any leaders in this country because we've been attacking men. The traditional family is completely destroyed in our country because, again, we've been attacking men. We say that masculinity is bad. We now have these young boys, 12 years old, standing up and apologizing for who knows what. As a 12-year-old boy, what are you apologizing for at that point? It's absolutely ridiculous that instead of teaching them, like, hey, let's teach everyone to be respectful members of society. No, it's immediately you're bad and you need to apologize for your gender. You may not know why, but just, you know, get on your knees and apologize. Just be submissive to whatever your authority is telling you. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep, exactly. I mean, my goodness, the fact that it makes me think of this. I'm gonna pull this up because someone sent this to me in a super chat. They were like, oh, dude, you think this is bad? Because I've talked about this multiple times. And they were like, dude, you think this is bad? You should check out this video, whatever. And I'm going to pull it up right now because it is embarrassing. This is from last year. Check this out. This is ridiculous. Male obedience, male happiness. I repeat, the love, obedience, and service you give her is equal to the love and sex you get from her.
What is this?
Male service, male happiness. Okay, I'm not gonna force anyone to finish watching this.
A
the way
female-led
to
marriage.
a female-led marriage. This is from Marissa Rudder, best-selling author of Love and Obey, the world's best guide to a female-led relationship. You know what? This is ridiculous. I have an amazing relationship, and you know what? We're equals. Okay, we're equals. I respect her, and she respects me, and that's it. You know, I'm the guy in the relationship. She's the girl in the relationship. And that doesn't mean that I have some authority or anything, or that she has some authority over me, or like we have to be obedient to each other. That's so weird that people are like adding this.
See, and that's my biggest frustration too with the whole feminist movement here in America specifically. They're trying to take women and make them fulfill the roles of men. And we're completely destroying and erasing that we have genetic differences, that we have biological differences, and we're essentially.
Whoa.
I know. Okay,
Savanah.
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going off the chain with the hate speech today.
How
sorry.
How dare you? You bigot.
I know. What can I say? I think that there's only two genders. Just put me in the gulag now. I'm bad.
I know, but no, that's not what you said. You actually said a truth before, and now genders, whatever. That's a whole different conversation. But biologically, there is a fundamental difference between a man and a woman. Well,
exactly.
First off, I have different parts down there. I don't know. If
I'd imagine so. I'd imagine so.
The obvious, people, and you've got different parts down there as well. I mean, that's a pretty.
Our brains are wired differently.
You know, they're going around now posting about how 90% of straight men said that they won't go down on a female penis.
A feminine penis, Adam.
It's
a feminine penis.
No. A penis is masculine. I'm sorry.
Gosh.
That is that's what males have.
Yeah.
Straight guys don't. That's not what they're into. That's why it's called straight. I don't.
I'm sorry. Are you transphobic or are you super straight? Which one?
Me? Are you actually asking me right now?
No, just rhetorically. I think it's so funny how as a man,
that's crazy though.
Yeah, as a man, if you do not enjoy a feminine penis, you're transphobic. And the Zoomers have started this whole, well, then I'm super straight, and they've created their own sexuality in an attempt to fight back, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But going back to this topic of like,
it's also sad.
Please, yeah, it is sad. It is sad. But I was just reading this article from CNN where they definitively said, when a child is born, you won't know their gender identity. So don't gender a child immediately at birth. So again, there's this whole conversation where we're trying to detach like biological gender from like psychological gender. I don't even know how this works anymore, but we're pushing this further and further in our media and to our children. And more importantly, I think it's very detrimental when we're targeting children and we're confusing them with this. Because if you go back to, I feel like the 80s and 90s, this wasn't as prevalent of an issue because it wasn't being force fed to our children every single day in, via like Arthur and PBS. And yeah, exactly. Like I'm pretty sure we have like gay Sesame Street characters now and everything's just a mess. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it is a mess. Well, at least there is some hope. I mean, let me ask before I show this article. Let me just ask you, what do you think about the whole sports thing? You're a woman. Mm-hmm. Would you want to compete against a trans woman? Would you think that's fair?
Absolutely not. And I'm glad you're asking this question too, because I take Muay Thai classes, and when I first started, the only people that I had to spar with were men. And let me tell you, sparring men versus sparring another female is very different. Even when the men were like, hey, I'm going to be soft. I won't kick you hard or hit you hard. They'd punch me in the stomach and I would be like, yeah, I'm fine. That wasn't hard at all. And, I'm like keeling over. Exactly. So when it does come to physically, I guess, competing against a man as a woman, the biological differences are off the charts. Okay. It's not easy. It's not fun. I would not ever agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Check this out. Governor Kristi Noem signs executive orders to protect girls in South Dakota, banning males from girls' sports. I mean, I'm inclined to agree with this. I'm glad because I think that women deserve their own, you know, bracket, their own, you know, version of sports. If they want to play sports, they should, and they shouldn't have it'd be unfair to have a biological male come in and dominate because that's what we're seeing. They keep cherry picking these. Well, this biological male didn't do very good. It's like, okay, then that biological male was maybe not the best at that sport. Okay, that's fine. But look at these other examples. Look at this MMA fight where I think it was Fallon Fox that just destroyed the woman, and she
fractured her skull.
Yeah, she fractured her skull, and it's ridiculous.
And
Joe Rogan was like, I'd never seen that before.
Exactly. Before we delve into this article too much, too, I do want to just point out how Megan Rapinoe, who, you know, is a part of the U.S. female soccer team, she came out and she was talking about transgender rights in sports for transgender youth. But the thing that's funny about that to me is that Megan Rapinoe, I feel like, has already peaked in her career. She's already at the point where no one's really going to challenge her. She's at the point where she's not a college athlete trying to achieve her dream of being on the U.S. women's soccer team and having to compete against a biological male for, one, a spot on the team, and two, for scholarships. So, you know, when we see these big athletes advocating for this stuff, they act like it's, you know, 8-year-old kids just playing on a soccer field, completely ignoring how women have worked their whole lives to try to get that scholarship, to go through college, to, you know, achieve this dream. And then a man can easily come in and just say, yeah, I'm going to take that over. It's just like when Serena, the Williams sisters, they played a tennis match against, I'm forgetting his name, but he was just like a male tennis player, and he completely dominated them, you know, because again, biological differences.
I didn't see that though, but you're right. Yeah. And then also like the whole money thing. It's like, who watches WNBA? Do you watch WNBA? I don't even watch the NBA. I did for a while back in the 90s. I grew up in Chicago, of course. The Bulls, you know.
Nice, yeah.
But I didn't even know the WNBA existed, and it's not fun to watch. I've seen a few games, and it's like it's not exciting to me to watch that. I'm not.
Adam, the only WNBA clip I've ever watched is the one where all the women are trying to make a basket and they keep missing for like 45 seconds straight, and everyone's just laughing at them. I'm not even trying to be mean to women, but it's kind of funny, and
there's
that's
good
the
players.
only. Yeah,
but
definitely.
They say, like, the difference is it's more of a ground game, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, but I like seeing, you know, fighting, like, or, you know, that's why I like watching hockey. Hockey's awesome to watch.
Yeah. The aggression, you kind of get that.
I don't even know. Is there a female hockey league? I have no idea, but, you know, the football, like, that's not even me. I mean, that's who people watch. So that's where the money's at. So there's so much money over there, and the girls are like, well, we deserve it. It's like, okay, well, you also have to understand nobody's watching those sports. I'm sorry. Granted, the female soccer team, they are good, and I watched them win, and it was awesome to win. I was rooting for them, but that was the only time I had ever seen them play. I don't really watch soccer or European football or classical football, if you will, or,
you know, Adam,
now
that we're having this conversation, I'm just having a brilliant idea for a man on the street video. I kind of just want to go out and ask people like, hey, do you think women should be paid equally in women, you know, in sports? And if they say yes, I'll just ask them like, so, you know, who's your favorite women's soccer player? Or what women's sports do you watch? Because I can guarantee you, if I go out on the street right now, a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know, but they should be paid equally, because that's usually what happens with those types of reports.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is advocating for this, but everyone advocates for it. But when push comes to shove, it's like, I want women to be paid the same as men in soccer, but also I've never watched a women's soccer game before, but they should be paid equally.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, and PragerU came out with a good video. They said, you know, if men and women are paid differently for said job, sports is a little different though, because sports you're paid on your quality of your sportsmanship and how many people, you know, are, you know, watch you play. But like, I don't know, an executive position or it doesn't matter. Anything in like a workplace environment. If women get paid less, then their guys wouldn't even have jobs anymore because companies would just hire the
women. Exactly, Adam. And I have this conversation so many times because people are like, women get paid less in the workplace if you look at the statistics. And I'm like, no, if you look at the statistics and you look at who is dominating engineering, computer sciences, it's men. Okay, yeah. It's not women. Women naturally gravitate to jobs like teaching careers in nursing. And if you even want to talk about, male nurses versus female nurses, male nurses are drawn to the jobs with longer hours. They're willing to go and they're willing to move their lives for, a pay raise, whereas the women nurses are not willing to do that. So, no one wants to take all of these external factors into consideration when they're talking about these statistics. They just want to like throw some statistics at you and say, yeah, look, we're being treated unfairly because we're women, when in reality, no, it's because men are willing to make sacrifices that women aren't willing to, or they're just dominating the fields where the money is at. And that's point blank the truth.
Boom. All right, let's read this.
That's article. Why. Yeah. Okay. That's
why. No, what were you going to say? That's why what?
Oh, I was just going to say that's why I chose media, because clearly I could use my looks to make money. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Send Adam all the supers. All right, let's get into this article.
Oh, that's funny. All right, this is this is awesome. I like that she's protecting girls' sports here. This is Governor Kristi Noem, man. She's been a bright example in the world stage. She didn't lock down. She didn't want to close South Dakota down. She was like, we're not doing that. But as far as this is concerned, this is a quote from her. She says, in South Dakota, only females based on their biological sex as reflected on their birth certificate. This is separate from the bill, House Bill 1217 that was initially passed through South Dakota's legislature earlier this month. This bill reportedly included a requirement that student athletes would have to sign a document stating their biological sex. A little over a week since it went to Noem's desk, she sent it back to lawmakers for style and form changes. It was done, according to her, on the grounds of language surrounding drugs being too vague, gender transition versus performance enhancement, the burden placed on public schools, and how college-level enactment of the bill would work when considering the national stage. The voting of HB 1217 also took place today. It fell 2 votes short of the 47 necessary from the House floor. It stands dead. All right, so it may be dead, but she released a pair of executive orders maintaining the spirit of what the bill aimed for. And she wrote here in a tweet, only girls should play girls' sports. Given the legislature's failure to accept my proposed revisions to HB 1217, I am immediately signing 2 executive orders to address this issue, one to protect fairness in K through 12 athletics, and then another to do so in college athletics. So not only is she protecting K through 12, but also in college in South Dakota. I mean, I don't understand how people don't really understand how there's a difference. If you're, look, there should be trans leagues. If you want to, I'm not saying you can't do sports, but, if you're going to, biologically, you're different. There's only 2 sexes. Gender, you can believe whatever gender you want to believe. I don't care. I believe differently than you, but that's fine, right? And I know you believe there's only 2 genders, Savanah. You said it earlier, and that's okay. This is their problem. They just can't accept that other people can't accept what they are or what they think. And it's like, it doesn't affect me. So I don't care what you identify as, right? But as soon as you are forcing it on me to like identify you as whatever you think you are, and it's like, okay, well, I don't agree with what you think it is. All right. The science shows me there's 2 sexes. I'm going to follow the science. Okay. I'm not going to follow your mumbo jumbo, whatever you think it is, because you need validation from other people to accept you, because you can't do it yourself. That's really
and that's exactly what this is. And I feel like in terms of all of these people with their political ideologies or their 57 genders, what have you, it's not that, like you said, that I guess sorry, let me think about this. The point that you made that I really liked was that they want the validation from us to accept it. Yeah.
Yep.
They can't let us live our lives. It's just like with the face mask. It's like everything else.
Yep.
They want the validation from us, and we're just like, no, I'm not going to think this certain way. And that pisses them off because they want us all to think the exact same way. And that's not how society works. And because they were raised in all of these safe spaces, they don't understand how to handle criticism or understand how to handle somebody who thinks differently from them. And it drives them crazy. So I had a small brain malfunction there, but that is what I was trying to convey.
Hold on. I want to look up the term definition for fascism.
Please do. Oh, Lord.
Forcible suppression of opposition. That's basically what it is. And what does that sound like? A tendency or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control. Political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation, often race, above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocrat government headed by that's like government, the political fascism. But it's like, what is a fascist, right? It's someone that you are not, that forces their will on other people, and if you can't accept it, then you're the devil, you're evil, you should be condemned, you should be removed from society. Who's doing that? Who's the real fascist nowadays? These people on the far left that are, and these people that identify as a million different genders that force it on other people. Like people, I'm going to take, I don't like to talk about it because it's for me. I'm a vegan, right? I don't talk about being a vegan, but people are like, oh gosh, here we go again with the vegan. How do you know who's vegan in a room? Well, they'll tell you within the first, couple minutes you're in the room with them. And it's like, that is the problem with everything. When you force your ideology on other people, I have a problem with it. Stop forcing it on others, right? Do you for you. You want to wear a mask? Wear a mask. You want to go get the vaccine? Go get the vaccine. You want to identify as a tree? Go ahead and identify as a tree. But don't look at me and say, you better recognize that I'm a tree or you are a bigot. You're a fascist. And it's like, you're a human being. You're not a tree. I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to accept that. No.
I was going to ask you earlier. I was like, so did you see that guy who identifies as a tree? But you did. You have.
I saw it. For the record, everyone, someone actually came out identifying as a tree.
And then people defended him and said, excuse me, don't say he, it's tree. And I was like,
okay, I missed that part.
Yeah, no, it was in the Twitter comments. Like, people were legitimately upset because people were using the he pronoun. They were like, I'm sorry, it's tree. Please don't be rude. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and laugh because it's like, what the hell is going on? How did we get here where we have grown-ass men on Twitter like, oh, please use my proper tree pronoun? And it's like, oh, okay. And then other people will come and just defend them to the death about it.
It's tree and tray.
Thank you.
My goodness, that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that.
Adam, I said sometimes I hate Twitter, sometimes I love it. It really depends on my mood that day.
Well, Twitter misses you. I know you got your ways, but you gotta be quiet about it. Gotta be quiet.
I know.
All right.